Right, yet another new mould. The mould manufacturers and suppliers have really been excelling themselves lately, and I don't know if you can see the sparkle on that and make out what it is, but it's a geode. Look at that. So it's one of these that you've got like the rock around the outside, you've got your sparkle. You know, when you crack open a geode and you find all that beautiful yumminess in the middle. It's one of those. Now, this is one of those handmade moulds from Intoresin. So they come with the care instructions. The originals are handmade, or I don't know, in this case, is it cast off a real geode? I don't know. I'm going to have to ask them. It's amazing, whatever it is. But the mould itself is also handmade. So treat them with care. They do come with care instructions, so you know what you're doing as well, which is good. And they come with their own little fancy bag to keep them in as well. Now, what we're going to try and do today is use some ethereal powders and a chameleon powder to actually colour our mould first, and then we're going to chuck some resin in and see what happens. Now, the colours I've chosen to use are from my currently, and probably for a long time yet to come, my favourite range, which are from the Tiny Turner. Now, one I've got here is called Blood Magic, and it's very dark and sinister looking. And I think, and I've been struggling to know what to do with it because it's unusual. It does look like the colour of dried blood. That sounds disgusting, doesn't it? It isn't. It's like a deep brown, but with a little bit, with a shimmer to it. It's hard to describe. Anyway, I thought that would actually be perfect for the outside. So, looks like I found a use for Blood Magic. Then for the crystally bit in the middle, we're going to go for these. And these are ethereal powders, also from the Tiny Turner. All these are, you can get from Toompish Crafts, by the way. And like I said, that's Intoresin. I'll put you links and such down below in case you want any of these. And I've actually got a 20% discount code for you on these moulds as well. Right, so the colours I've decided to go for are Dark Matter, which is a lovely purpley blue, Supernova, which is a different shade of blue, more of a bluey blue. Now, does that make sense? And this one is Galaxy, which is kind of all pinky, but of course they colour flip. Now, these are quite transparent. So you can get a very subtle effect with them, but in putting black behind it, which ultimately I probably will with this, we could get quite a strong effect. I'm going to put those colours on first because I think it'll be easier to wipe away around the sides here if I've got any of those where the Blood Magic is going to go, rather than do it the other way around. I'm making sense to me. I'm not sure whether I'm making sense to you. We'll see. So I've got one fluffy brush here. I'll use that for the Blood Magic. And I'll use this smaller one for in here. Now I'm going to want to go quite sparingly with these because I want to try and get a little bit of colour all over. It's the easiest way to go sparingly with it, I find. I'm going to need to restock soon. These go a hell of a long way, but I've been using them a hell of a lot, and if you've seen my videos lately, you'll bear that out. Yeah, the easiest way I find it to use just a little bit is either in the lid. So if I tip it upside down, give it a shake, I end up with a little bit in the lid. Or you can see when you've not got much left in your pot, if you shake it to one side, so the side of your pot, you'll get not too much on it, so you'll be able to judge how much you're using. Now, the reason I'm going in with just a tiny bit is because you only need a tiny bit. But the main thing is I also want to get this a little bit of each colour all over, just randomly, like that. And I want to try and avoid getting it around the sides if I can, because the less clean up, the better. Now, you can use one of those sponge makeup applicator brushes. I know some people prefer those, but I think if you're trying to get down into the little crevices of crystal mould like this, it's probably a lot easier to just go in with a little eyeshadow brush, which is all this is. So I'm going to build up just, in patches, these colours. Because these colours shift like hell anyway. You could do this all in one colour if you wanted, because of the amount of colour shift and sparkle you're going to get, I'm sure. But I thought a little bit of variety in it would be quite an interesting little effect. So there's a bit of that one. So as I said, that was Galaxy, which is a kind of predominantly pinky, but it will do all the other colours as well while it's up. Next, we're going to go in with Supernova. Clean my brush off, and away we go again. So if anybody hasn't seen the crystal handmade mould from Intoresin, and you go off to their website and you have a look and you go, those look a bit pricey. Just think what's gone into making them. We're all handmade crafters, aren't we? Well, that's why you're watching this channel, I presume. You know how much work goes into making an original, then a mould. It's a big job, and not mass factory produced. Value for money, incredible, because they are such amazing moulds and they are unique. If you see any cheaper versions anywhere, they are fakes. You won't get the quality that you get with the real thing. Now, obviously, this is where that 20% discount comes in. That's pretty hefty, and I am still amazed that they gave us that bigger discount. So please do grab that link from down in the video description, because by golly, that's worth having, isn't it? But I'm sure they've always got some in stock. But if you all go crazy and order a load at once, which does seem to happen from time to time, it happened when I showed everybody the flower mould, then bear with them a little bit, because they are going to take a little while to make them. They can only make so many at a time. I think some of them they have actually had to make more originals so that they can make them quicker. But yes, it's the beauty of not being factory produced, versus the fact that does mean that you do have to wait a bit longer for them sometimes. Dark matter now, and as you can see, I've got a bigger brush, because what I'm trying to do now is go over the whole thing, and I am putting a bit more on my brush as well, because and it is going up the sides as a result. So I should do I should practice what I preach. Clean the sides. But the idea now is that I'm picking up with dark matter any bits that I might have missed with the other colours. And hopefully it will be quite a lot, because I want a bit of each colour to shine through. I'm quite okay with bits if there's no colour, because you'll get the natural sparkle from the mould itself. Right, next little job is to get in here with a cloth and get out any overspill. Now, because of the shape of this and the fact that the sides are like a rock, it shouldn't be too difficult. I shouldn't need to be getting in with alcohol and micro brushes. I should just be able to go around with my wipe. I don't mind if a little bit of it gets onto the outside anyway, to be honest. But I think it would be better if it's fairly dark, rock-like brown on the outside. Yeah, I think that's okay. Can't see any I've missed there particularly. Because there's a bit, it doesn't matter anyway. We're okay. Right, okay, we're going to go in now with the blood magic for the sides. Now, I'm not going to worry too much if a bit gets on the middle, because what you will see anyway is what's gone onto the mould first. And it'll just add to the effect. Get a different brush. That one's got a bit of powder in it still. Here we go. Let's use this brush. So this is it's dark and sultry and slightly evil looking. I'm going to get a bit more on my brush for this, because we're going to go all the way around. But yeah, I had been wondering what to do with this colour, because it's a little bit unusual. It's not got that beautiful, vivid sparkle that most chameleon powders have. I don't know how else to describe it. It's dark and moody looking. It does still colour flip. It's still interesting. It's still gorgeous. But it's just, it's not pretty purple, blue, those sort of colours. It's a very dark, very rich colour. As you can see, it is getting onto the edge of where that colour is on the centre, because I'm, putting a bit too much on my brush as usual, and it's dropping down, but that's okay. The other thing to remember, of course, this is meant to be a geode. It's a natural thing. It's not going to be perfectly uniform and whatever the other words are that I'm looking for, is it? So what you're doing when you're using these powders, or the flakes, as I'm sure some of you have come across chameleon flakes as well, is you're really burnishing it onto the surface. And that's what brings out the shine in it. So don't just sprinkle it on and think you'll get the extreme shine. You'll get a different effect, which may be what you're after. But yeah, this is the way to do it, either with a makeup sponge applicator or a brush, but you're burnishing it into the surface. You're really rubbing it on. So you see what I mean? It's I thought it would be perfect for this colour. And again, it won't matter if I've missed any bits because we're going to have this smoky black behind it anyway. There we go. That is our Blood Magic. It's an interesting colour. If you're doing something, if you want something a bit more, you still want it chameleon-y, you want it interesting, but you don't want bright, vibrant colours. So, I think it'd be good for making dragons with and things like that. So, there we are. We're going to just mix up some resin now. Actually, well, just mix up some resin. I've actually got some mixed up in a pot here already because I'm doing several projects at once today. So I'm going to just bring that into shot. There we are. I'm seeing your back out a little bit now. There we are. This is already mixed up and it's been stood for a little while. It's degassed. I'm just going to put in a drop of black pigment. I've got a big bottle of Vista black that I'm still using up. The resin I'm using is Apex High Gloss. It comes with pumps on the bigger bottles now, or you can order the pumps separately if you've already got some and just want the pumps, and it just makes life a lot easier. Don't panic, you won't dislodge that powder. If there's any loose, that's plenty, isn't it? If there is any that's still loose in your piece, any powder that's loose on the surface, because as you see, I didn't shake any off. So if you do have any that's loose, all that will happen is it'll rise to the back and you'll end up with a pretty back to it. Which is okay, isn't it? It's not a problem. Which is nice. I deliberately sort of don't shake it out on the whole because I want a pretty back. Oh, look at that. I judged that well, didn't I? That was total guesstimate. Right, I'm just going to get my stick and make sure it's spread up to the corners. Don't panic about the bubbles, they will dissipate on their own. The resin I use does tend to dissipate on its own. Now, I'll see you later for the demold then, folks. It will be, I'll probably leave it, well, what do we know? It's lunchtime. I'll probably leave it overnight and demold it in the morning. It'll be well and truly rock hard by then. So yes, it looks like a rock on the outside. It's all a bit rough. So I'm trying to do this upside down so you do a proper reveal. Well, first observation is that it didn't get all of the powder out of the mould, but most of it's gone. So that's good. That means most of it should have transferred onto here. Now, does it look like a rock? Does a bit. Yeah, that Blood Magic was the perfect choice. Oh, look, it's even got cracks and flat bits and... Oh, yes. Now, this stuff colour flips anyway, these powders, like I said. So a lot of that sparkle, I'm getting all the different colours that I wanted in there. But I think just the one colour would have done that. Oh, that's lovely. Right, I want to try this again because I want to see what it's like when you really do put, like I said, I wanted to do like a lighter smoky effect so that you'd get this more translucent. But my God, look at that. Goodness me. That is absolutely... And it looks like somebody's broken a stone in half, doesn't it? It really does. And then you've got that going on inside. Right, I'm going to try this again with some other colours. Shall we carry on? Now, you can either fast forward or turn off at this point because you've seen one finished result, or you can hang out with me and we'll do another one. I'm a bit too excited by this one, aren't I? Right, I think the Blood Magic is the right one for the outside, or maybe we could do grey. Just like browns and greys. But I do see it's got a bit of a shimmer to it. It's made it interesting. So I think we'll stick with the Blood Magic. Let's see what colours I've got to do the inside as an alternative. Let's do something with a lot more contrast this time. Let's try those two. You could go in with actual chameleon powders because, that's kind of what the effect you've ended up with there rather than the ethereals because of putting the black behind it. But actually, tell you what, you can even see, where the Blood Magic is around the edges? Look at the sparkle even there. Oh, okay, too excited. Stop it, Tracy. Now, here we go again. If you want to hear me whittering on, stay tuned. If you want to clear off because you've seen enough, then I will put photos of both of them at the end anyway. So I leave that entirely up to you. But let's go in with our colours in the middle again. Going to do exactly the same process. Now, I think this time I'm going to aim for more of the green in the centre and the gold at the edges maybe, rather than more random blobbing. I bet it'll end up a bit everywhere anyway, so, Not too worried if it's not exactly how it goes. You know what? I'm going to go straight in with a bigger brush. I'm going to get blasé about this. There might still be a little bit of the bluey colours from last time in here. I don't know. I don't know how well I got it all into the resin, but I think the majority's gone. Oh, people have asked with these, do you need to seal over the where the powder is afterwards? Nah. It actually melds into the resin if you're using a form of resin. The eco casting powder is a whole different matter. It doesn't always stick at all to those, in fact. It can sort of be done, but brushing it on and sticking it on with size works better with those, in fact. Right. But yeah, it actually sort of fuses into the resin, so you don't need to do any sealing. So I'm going right down the sides, and then I'm trying to kind of blend it up. I am getting it all down the sides because I've got excited and gone in with this bigger brush. It's going all over it. I mean, you could do the outside all gold as well if you wanted, or do what you like. I just kind of like the fact that it ended up looking like a rock. Just an interesting one, because I think that is what the outside is intended to be. So what I'm trying to do here is kind of blend it so you've got some green, you've got the gold, and there's a kind of an overlap. So a little bit of the gold coming into the middle here. I think probably we've got that all covered now. So same again, just going to clean it all off with one of my window wipes, which are ideal for this because it's just easy. You could get tape in here if you're used to using tape. I just figured this is the easiest way for me to do it. Tape is a good way to clean moulds. These wipes, I mean, they say don't use alcohol on these moulds. I don't really know what's in these wipes. For a quick wipe over, rather than leaving it lying on the surface, I've not found any problem with using these wipes with them. And some of the moulds I've had from this brand I have had for a while, so should be okay. And yeah, let's just go with the Blood Magic on the outside again. So I'm going to tip it up and try not to get any onto the centre. I went a little bit around the edge, but I'm going to try and get less. Of course, what you could do is just, make a proper stone effect on the outside of this. You could get just like a normal mica powder in a greyish brownish colour, which would be kind of pearly, but it wouldn't be as colour flippy. Or you could just leave it so that the black that you then subsequently use to fill it with, that takes over. I'm sure you could also paint the outside of it, spray it with stone effect paint. I'm sure there's a load of things you could do, but I'm kind of liking this kind of strange effect of this Blood Magic colour, so I'm sticking with it. So just to remind you, the links for everything I'm using here are down in the video description below. Just click where it says more, and it'll take you straight to the website. And don't forget, I have got a 20% discount for you with Intoresin, and they will automatically apply that. But down in my video description, I've also got the code in case you come to the website through a different route and it doesn't automatically get applied. So this one's going to be interesting, isn't it? Okay, we're going to go in with the black again. And this time, as I said, I'm going to mix it a little less black. So let's get some mixed up and we'll see how we get on with it. Okay, so this time I'm just going to put a little dot on the end of my stick, like so, and we'll see what that looks like. The thing with using a pigment paste is it's very intense. That might be better. So I think that might be pretty good. See, it's just a little bit see-through. I think I could have got away with even less, actually, with the black. Because it's quite deep. So in the background, I'm just adding a bit more resin to try and bring it back a little bit, actually. So I'm going to have a load of resin left over. Find another mould quickly. Okay, I think that'll be good enough. It does look fairly transparent, look, which is what I was after. With just that nice hint of colour in it. Incidentally, I've realised it's actually, the mould is level, it's my levelling table that isn't. Forgotten I upset it a few weeks ago when I was having a craft room reorganising, tidying sort of thing, and yeah, never quite got it right. I never set it back correctly. So it's my fault, it's not the mould's fault. I think it's quite level now. Oh, I'm going to have a fiddle later. Note to self, if you move your craft room around and have a tidy up, do make sure you put your levelling table straight afterwards. It would be a good idea, wouldn't it, Tracy? Right. So, again, I'll see you for the demould, and then we'll do some final photos, because I think I'll call it a day at that. Okay, let's demould this one and see what this looks like. I'm so I can't stop looking at that one. That's amazing. Anyway, yes, let's try this one. Here we go, here we go, here we go. Oh, look at that. Oh, I like the gold and the green. That's made an interesting effect, hasn't it? Yay! So there we are. These will be on their way to the charity shop that I support soon. That's the Acorn Children's Hospice. I'll just let them air for a little bit and I'll make sure I haven't got any sharp edges, of course. But just look at that. I think that's amazing. And putting that smokier effect, you can see through it, look a little bit. Can you see that? You see my finger moving? I don't know if it's made that much difference to the actual colour. A little bit, maybe. But there we are. So, if you like this one, you know what to do. Like button and the subscribe button are down here. Don't forget, subscribing is totally free. And I really appreciate your likes and your comments. Let me know what you think of these. And I look forward to seeing you for the next video. Bye then, everyone.
Crafting on a rainy day, colors in a resin play, shimmer shines the only way, sparkle chases clouds away, in the workshop with the light, glitter paints the darkest night, rainbow hues just feel so right, adding magic to the sight. Never too much sparkle, let it shine, let it be. Never too